I'm sorry, the next speaker. After.
Followed by Don Kusar, followed by Fred Dale.
Okay, the pictures are by the next gentleman, Mr. Crescimenti. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, my name's William Moore. My daughter Woody spoke, and it's really difficult to follow her, so I'm going to sort of curtail my comments, but I did want to make just a few points about this thing. I live at 3713 Richmond Street, which is a couple doors down. I'm friends with the Cousers. I'm friends with the Surfaces. I grew up with the Surfaces. Dave and Frank bracketed me at bowls, and I hope we're still good friends after this thing, and I have every reason to believe that we still will be, but we're opposed to this proposal. The Surfaces and the Cousers and anybody else that's concerned about levels of crime or nuisance or taking care of the park, they have some legitimate beefs with that. The city hasn't done a good job of taking care of this place. From what I understand, the JSO has blown off issues that needed to be addressed more seriously. The community's clearly behind this thing. And I think what you're going to hear tonight is overwhelmingly people want to keep this access open and want to do something to make this park safe but open to the public. And I think that's the right thing to do. I think what has been proposed here is sort of the irrational nuclear option that really is inappropriate, particularly in light of the fact that all the other things that are going on in this city with the mayor's race and the sheriff's office, and now this thing's sliding through. So I hope that they would, we'd slow this process down, have some more public input, and work on interim solutions. I also do want to point out that we have been the ones that have thrown the kayaks in there, the canoes, we crabbed, we fished. We've done all these things. I walk the dog down there probably 2 or 3 days a week. And we'd ask you to give some thoughtful consideration to this thing, slow up this process, look at other options, and listen to the community, because I think beyond the people that live on Richmond Street, there are people all over the city who aren't organized and aware enough to show up at a meeting like this on a Tuesday night. And I think those people's interests should be looked after by the city council as well as the folks in the immediate area. Thank you.
Sir, stand by. Thank you, Councilman Crescimenti. No, the next speaker, Mr. Crescimenti.
Through the chair, I'm sorry, what was your name?
William Moore, Chip Moore.
Mr. Moore, and this young lady was your daughter?
Yes.
I want to make sure, did you hear the part about her almost being 17 and not having a car?
Yes, I heard that. Mr. McAfee in the back pointed that out to me. Also, if I could, I wanted to point out that what Mr. Gulliford said about the access.
Sir, hold on. The time's expired. I have to give your district councilman, Mr. Love, first. Okay. He has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. And you're right. It is hard following your daughter.
Yes.
You think if we fixed up this property and made it into a lovely park, do you think it would add value to your home?
Yes, and let me say this. It is an amenity to my home. When I bought this property, it was an amenity. It added
the way
value.
It is now is an amenity. Is that what you're saying?
Right, and there's a balance. When you live next to Willow Branch Park, there's positives about being near the park, being near the library. There's negatives, like there's fights in the basketball court, and that you have to balance those out.
And Mr. Moore, what did you want to say to Mr. Gulliford?
Well, I just wanted to point out my parents live next door to Mr. Gulliford, essentially at Atlantic Beach. There's an access point at the end of the road in between Mr. Gulliford's block and the Sea Turtle, in between my parents' house. Those are, again, like this access point, they're positives and negatives, and we have to live with those in order to provide the community access to a natural resource that is just critical to Jacksonville and is the fabric of Jacksonville's identity.
Mr. Moore, I just want to say you've raised a great daughter, by the way.
That is true. That's true.
And through the President, to Mr. Moore, are you aware of the actions that we took some time ago with respect to beach accesses in general down there, not just that specific one? That number one, we limited the times, and we also limited the parking in that area, which may well be something else that you all might want to consider as this. I think the other thing that was brought up that you really need to get to, and I agree that Mr. Clark probably precipitated a lot of debate and discussion, which is a good thing. But what I think you're probably going to end up getting to is making a community solution where you also take into consideration the homeowners' situation being on an access like that. So.
Absolutely, and addressing crime, addressing nuisance, I think is very important. And I think there are many other solutions that need to be fully explored here. And I want to make my neighbors feel comfortable with this area. I want it to address crime, trash, do whatever it takes. And I want the city to help pitch in the JSO.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Oh,
Ms. Floyd?
No.
wasn't